Good morning. Today is a nice day. It feels like it's about in the 80s. And it's about 8:45 in the morning right now. Something like that. This ride won't be too crazy and dramatic and intense just because I'm not in a major hurry right now. Actually, I'm never in a major hurry, but I'm not going to make it intense today. I'm just gonna, I gotta see this truck. Look at that beauty. Nice. Flat tire, but sure is pretty. Let's go see it from the other side real quick. There's a little bit of a tree in the way, but look at that. Ah, that is nice. Anyway, this guy always has cars for sale. He's always fixing up stuff and selling it. Ooh, there's a nice one inside that garage too. That's lovely. All right, so I'm not interested in pushing it right now. I'll probably push it on my way home. It's more of an uphill climb anyway. I hate when people run stop signs. Nobody did it back there, well, at least not while I was there. But to me, a stop sign is a chance. When I'm driving, it's a chance to be safe, assess the situation, and proceed when safe. A lot of people see it as an obstacle that they have to get through, so they get through it as quickly as possible. As a cyclist, I see it as a chance to increase some strength, because if you stop and then start, that's just a little bit harder. These palm fronds here can puncture car tires, so I don't want anything to do with them. I'm supposed to make a full lane change, not just halfway, dude. You know, one of the things I've seen a lot lately is people riding their bikes against traffic. And it bugs me. I don't yell at people when they do that. I have before, but I stopped because it doesn't do any good. But it's one of those things that just, I don't understand it. And I know a lot of people say, well, I want to see what's coming at me so I can avoid it. The problem is, Right now I'm doing, let's see, between 15 to 20 miles an hour. And at this speed, especially on this road where people are going 45 miles an hour, if something were to suddenly swerve at me, there is no way I can avoid it. So if I'm doing 20 miles an hour, some dude comes at me at 45, well it's 50 because they usually go about 50 here. Some dude comes at me at 50 miles an hour. That means they're basically coming at me at 70 miles an hour. Whereas if I'm going with traffic, they're doing 50, they're coming at me at 30. So I'd rather somebody be approaching me with a 30 mile an hour differential than a 70 mile an hour differential. They have more time to react. I have more time to react. And here's the other thing. In order for me to move sideways, I have to move forward. It's not like I can simply jump out of the way laterally. I have to be moving forward. So, no matter what, even when I'm trying to get out of the way, I am rapidly getting closer to whatever I'm trying to get away from. So, if you ever watch American football and watch somebody trying to make a tackle, someone trying to get away from being tackled, as they run at each other, that ability to get away actually decreases because they are getting closer together in distance, both laterally and front and back. Now you'll notice if the tackler is trying to chase down the guy with the ball, then it's a little bit different. They are it closes up a lot slower, we'll say. Now the difference is when you're on your feet and not on a bicycle, you can basically stop and change direction real quickly. And you can be going forward and then suddenly change and go like that, but on a bicycle you can't do that. The movement of the bike requires the forward motion, so you have to swerve, you can't jump. That's what happens. And that's just one aspect. The other thing is, if you watch anyone pulling out from a side street, here we're on the right side of the road. So if someone's pulling out from a side street and they're turning right, they will look left, and quite often, doesn't always happen, but quite often you'll see somebody looking left and never looking right. And the reason is because they are trying not to get hit by something big or something dangerous. I like that yellow truck too. They're trying not to get hit. So they're looking out for themselves. And generally speaking, in the extreme vast majority of cases, there is nothing that can hurt them coming from the right. Because, like I said, in the vast majority of cases, cars travel on the right side of the road here. They don't travel against traffic. So if somebody were pulling out from this side street right up here and they stopped at the stop sign, they're looking down this road, they're looking in my direction to make sure that there's nothing there that can hit them. They're not going to look in the other direction because they're not crossing traffic. And some people do, because some people are like, oh, there might be pedestrians, but for the most part, people are interested in what's safe for them. They don't care about everything else. So, I shouldn't say that, but they don't consciously think that way, because a pedestrian will stop and they'll wait. Whereas a cyclist, there aren't very many here, so they don't look for us. We're quite rare. And we should be traveling with traffic. So if you travel with traffic, there's a good chance you'll be seen by somebody pulling out. Much better chance than if you travel against traffic. Traveling against traffic, there's a good chance you won't be seen at all. Why do I take the lane there? You notice there were people turning right. And if I were to the right of them and the light turned green and I started to move, generally speaking, again, they're looking left. And so they start going because they see traffic stopping and they're like, oh good, I can go. And I move out and they hit me. So I find it best if I take the lane right there, and then people know how to deal with it and they don't get bothered by it. They turn right when they're supposed to, and usually they queue up behind the guy in the left lane rather than me. Oh, there sure is a lot of glass over here. So yeah, riding against traffic makes no sense to me. One thing I will say, most of the people that I see that ride against traffic, they tend to stick to sidewalks, which is, I guess, a little bit better. I'll see people going 30 miles an hour on the sidewalk against traffic, and that's not good. That's not safe at all. If you're going to go on the sidewalk, go nice and slow, 10 miles an hour, you know, or less. There are people walking on the sidewalks, and coming at them at 30 miles an hour just is not good. Okay, I'm going to take over here, and we'll go this way. I wonder what these guys are doing. Looks like they're building something here. So here's an example. I usually don't do this, but I'm going to go on the sidewalk against traffic. There's a couple places where I do it all the time. Actually, there's one I do up ahead, but that's because there's really no good way to go. So I'm going, what, probably about 10 miles an hour. This is pretty safe. And anytime that I see a car pulling out, my best bet is to actually stop and wait, or slow down enough to wait for them to go. Now I can go faster as long as there are no pedestrians. Summer school. You have to watch out for things like this cart up here, because people will block it and then they'll try to rob you. Good morning. All right, so it's about really the only part where I normally ride against traffic. That's because it has this huge barrier, and I go very slow and very careful, which is more than I can say for a lot of people. And I have yet to be hit by a car pulling out. All right, I'm at work. So click those buttons and keep being awesome, and I'll see you on your left.